Hello guys, welcome back. And today we're going to be talking about the Dallas Stars picking DELLANDREA 13th overall in the first round. Now, of course, I went to the draft and I got to experience the reaction, got to experience everything, and from my first impressions, I was not happy. I wanted Joe Veleno. He ends up going 30th overall, but I wanted him. I wanted a few other people around him as well, but the Stars take DELLANDREA, a guy who was pegged to be, around that 25th spot. We saw rumors of Toronto really negotiating with him, and they were probably going to take him if they got that far, but DELLANDREA getting taken all the way up to 13th overall by the Dallas Stars. Now, DELLANDREA is 17 years old. He was a center, and he in the OHL this season with the Flint Firebirds. He played 67 games, 27 goals, 32 assists for 54 points. And he was the first Flint Firebird ever to be selected in the first round, so he's making history as well, and that's cool to see. But he's just, for me, he's not nearly a top 15 talent. I'd say he's a first round talent, but the Stars just took a massive gamble and a massive risk on a guy who's going to take a while to be NHL ready. He's 17 years old. He's going to take a long time to be ready for it, and hopefully he'll have a bounce, or not a bounce back, but a much improved OHL season next season to really prove himself. But I feel like he could be on that cusp. We'll see what happens, but DELLANDREA is a huge risk for the Dallas Stars at 13th overall. Maybe if they picked him in the later stages of the first round, it would have been less of a gamble, but to me, 13th overall is not when you pick a guy like DELLANDREA. And the Stars better hope that this works out like another Radek Fax at 13th overall, rather than, I don't know, like a Jack Campbell 10th overall. They gotta get this right. And he's a center, which is what they wanted, but at the same time, they have Veleno. They had some other guys. They had Kupari. There was a few guys overall that I'd say were better fit for the Dallas Stars, but DELLANDREA, we'll see what happens. I'm not going to really judge the scouts right now. We'll see at the end of his career and see if he actually turns out, but I'm not too optimistic. I'm skeptical, but I still think he could become something. And to me, this guy's biggest potential is like a 13 or a third liner. I don't see him becoming a second line type of guy. He looks like a two-way center, and he might be that way. And I feel like he will be that third line center if he ends up becoming an NHL player. And at 13 overall, you're not really hoping for a third liner. You're hoping for a top 6 guy, and I just don't know what Dallas is really thinking here. They could have just traded down like 10 picks and still probably gotten him. I just feel like the reach just was not worth it one bit. And of course, time will tell if this actually is a good move, but right now, I just don't have the best impressions about it. I don't think it's the best move. DELLANDREA is a solid player, and I think he will be a decent NHL player, but I just don't see too much potential in this guy, 13th overall. When you're picking 13th overall, you want to get some potential, and DELLANDREA, I feel like, will be a solid bottom 6 guy if he ends up making it. Which, again, is a huge if, because all of these guys don't really make it. A lot of the late first-round picks don't usually make it, and he was supposed to be that. And 13th overall, it was obviously a big reach, but it better work out for them. It better. I can't help but feel that we had better players around them that they could have picked, and it looks like a mistake right now. We'll have to see what happens, but right now, I just don't have a good feeling about it. I feel like it's going to be a mistake in the future, and even though he might be an okay player, I still think that he doesn't have the potential as some other guys that were drafted around him. Now, that's no knock on DELLANDREA at all. I still think he's going to be a good player, but I just don't see the potential in him that guys like Kupari could have bringed, and the other guys around him. I just feel like there was better picks around him, better players that we could have gotten, and players that could have had more of a future as a top 6 guy or as a top 4 defenseman. I feel like DELLANDREA, his best effort is probably going to be a third line center for the Stars, which is still fine. But when you're picking 13th overall, you want to have some great potential. You want to see some decent potential that could really perform in the NHL. But DELLANDREA, he's going to be solid, but I just don't think that he has potential to be a top 6 guy. And we all knew that Dallas was looking for a center in this upcoming draft. I just did not expect them to reach this far for a guy like DELLANDREA. I just did not expect them to go after a center that was pegged to be so low. And I wanted Joe Veleno. He ends up going 30th overall, dropping exponentially. That was a little bit of a weird scenario there. But DELLANDREA, I still think that's it's a weird situation, because if it doesn't work out, then it's an obvious mistake of reaching for a guy he doesn't have that great potential. At least to me. I mean, he could become a first-line center, that'd be amazing, but I just don't see the potential of him in some other guys, and I feel like he's going to be more of a solid bet to make the NHL, but I feel like he'll be only a third-line, fourth-line guy. I feel like he doesn't have quite of a top 6 potential, and for something when you're picking 13th overall, you want to have that potential. You want to have that potential of a first-line / second-line guy. And with Dellandrea, I just don't quite see it. He's going to be a solid player. I think he will make the NHL, but I just don't see that potential, that 13th overall potential that other players have. And it's an obvious reach, and a reach that I don't think they needed to make either. They had some decent guys around him, some decent centers that maybe be better than Dellandrea, but they had options, and they chose to pick Dellandrea 13th overall. Maybe they know something that I don't, probably, but I feel like it's an obvious reach that is a giant risk, a giant gamble, and a gamble that might not work out. And no, not every draft pick is certain, but with 13th overall, I feel like they could have gotten a better guy, and maybe even traded down and still gotten Dellandrea. I feel like they had options there. Even if they wanted Dellandrea, just trade down like 5 picks, he'd probably still be there. And while it's looking like a mistake right now, I'm obviously hoping that he proves me wrong and becomes like a first-line, second-line guy for the Dallas Stars. I'm hoping that he can actually fill the potential that the Dallas Stars feel like he has. I feel like he can do it, but again, if he can prove me wrong, that'd be fantastic. It's just a weird situation where Dellandrea, he's a solid player, but 13th overall, I just don't see the potential in him. With the Dallas Stars, it could be a huge mistake going forward that to pick the guy, and we'll have to wait and see through the history books and see how this ends up working out. But with Dellandrea, he's a decent player, but he probably should have never been 13th overall, or maybe even the top 20. I feel like the Dallas Stars were an obvious reach here, and while it has to work out here, it really, really does, because you're reaching for a guy. If he doesn't work out, that's a big problem. We can't keep getting more mistakes in the 15 or in the first 15 picks. Dallas needs to stop that. But again, best wishes to Dellandrea in the organization. I do actually like the guy. I hope that he succeeds. I just don't have the best feeling about him. I'm hoping that he can succeed. I hope that he can prove me wrong, as some other people as well. I hope he can carve out a decent and a great NHL career. So that's going for it, guys. Again, make sure to like, subscribe, down below what you think of Dallas picking Dellandrea 13th overall. Do you think it was a reach? Do you think it was fair? What do you think about him? I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.